Hi there, and welcome back to Empowering Empathy, where we talk about the power of compassion, personal growth, and professional success. And we have co-host Mr. Brian Marcum over there.
Hello, everybody.
I'm Michael Walker.
That's Michael Walker.
Thanks for joining us once again. Hi, Brian. How's it going today?
I'm well, Michael. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about today?
Well, here at Golden, we discuss holistic growth, and I use the words mind, body, soul. And so, the reality is at Golden, our challenge here for our organization is we want to take everybody and not just focus in on what they can produce for the company or gain their skills from a financial standpoint or just get the most out of them. What we really like to do is to come along people and challenge them to level up in all aspects of their life, whether that's a father, whether that's a spouse, whether that's a parent or a child, and that's physically and mentally, mental health, as well as, the soul spiritually. And I think I would like to turn the tables on this conversation a little bit on this one. A little gotcha here for a moment, but I think you are a fine case study for Golden Technology in holistic individual. I think I'm in very much admiration of what you do as a father and as a mate, and also fostering your soul side. And you foster that through...
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I think very highly of you in that regards. And I think...
I appreciate it.
No, I do. And so I would love people to get to know a little bit about Michael Walker on this podcast. Is that all right?
Yeah, we can dig it.
All right. So...
What do you want to know?
Well, I love the fact that you're an artist. I am on the wrong side of the brain when it comes to that art thing. And I've always wanted to nurture it. I can't paint. I can't sing. Can't play an instrument. Tried about a dozen of them, and I can play like Mary Had a Little Lamb and chopsticks. But
Can't is not the right word.
You're right. Maybe in
our house, we like to say presently struggle with.
I presently struggle.
I stole that from Tony Horton, if you know who that is.
Yes, I do.
P90X guy.
Yes. He's a beast. So what I love about you is the fact that you use your artistic capabilities for your marketing and to head up our marketing department, but you also do it in music. And so
Sure, yeah.
People don't know probably in this Golden Technology world the success that you've had as a rock and roller, and
We're doing all right.
I thought we would learn a little bit about your world from a music standpoint and from a musician standpoint. And so I would love to ask this question. So
Okay.
At what point in your life did you learn that or have an interest in becoming a musician, or when did you first pick up an instrument and start hacking at it?
So it's kind of a two-part question. Early is the short answer, but I think I was primed for it from a very early age. My dad was super into music as an appreciator. And I think some of us are just wired to hear it and feel it differently than others, or at least maybe not differently, but on a different level, or without even realizing it.
Sure.
So, I mean, some of my earliest memories are bopping around in the basement to my dad's hi-fi stereo. You remember the hi-fi systems,
with those big
right?
speakers and that rack in the middle? Yeah.
They're big pieces of furniture that travel with the family over house to house. Anyway, jamming out in the basement to, Dark Side of the Moon and stuff that my dad was listening to, Moody Blues, the Beatles, all that kind of stuff that was, popular in the days. And I don't know, I just went somewhere, internally and inside that I just couldn't explain for a long time.
Sure.
And so I feel like I always had that appreciation that was a little bit more over the top than on most people. I mean, everybody, for the most part, I haven't really met people that don't like music, but there are people where like that guy's crazy into music, that's me. And over the years, I've surrounded myself with some others that are like that. But the other part of that question,
real quick, I see if I'm correct here in this analogy. So there are times where I'll listen to music and I'm just listening. And then, I don't know, every 5th, 6th, 7th time, I'm caught into that music, and I'm actually kind of elevated out of my surroundings and kind of
Yeah.
in the music, just almost to the point where tears are coming to your eyes.
For sure.
And the difference is between I get that about 1 out of every 8 attempts, you are 8 out of 8 attempts.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, it's
Is that a good analogy, you think?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there's the place you go. Yeah, of course.
The place you go.
And then the other part of that question, though, the when did you know you wanted to play? I'd say I always felt that way, but the first time I went to a concert was in 1994. My father took me to the Tom Petty Wildflowers tour, and that was at the Cincinnati Gardens, which is no longer there. But I was like, you already feel this way about music, and then you're subjected to, 120 decibels in a, environment where there's 10,000 people.
Yes.
And like, it's just, thumps you, and, just, it's totally immersive. The lights, the sound, the enormity of it. I'd been to sporting events and, always appreciated that. But a musical event like that, it was something that was just totally mind blowing. And physically, even just the pounding of the bass into my chest, I was like, that's what I want to do. I felt it, and I looked down, and everybody was bouncing to the sound of the bass and the drums. So
yeah,
I was like, first on the ride home, I'm like, we're gonna get a bass guitar, right, Dad? Because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So it didn't happen right that hour or next day, but pretty quickly thereafter, rented a bass to make sure it was something I was going to stick with. And, 4 weeks in, I think they were pretty convinced, like, yeah, he's going to stick with this. And so
sure,
I bought a inexpensive bass that is still with me. I've bought and sold many over the years.
You have the OG one?
Yes, I do.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Indeed. So
yeah,
that's the when did I know part.
Yeah. So obviously going through school and your young adult life, you probably picked it up a few times and
sure,
and then it sits for a little bit and so forth. And,
yep.
And so when this latest shtick of involvement, because now you're pretty deep into it and
yep.
spend a lot of time with the bass guitar. How did this current window start?
So from that early point, I was pretty consistent, through high school and college and shortly thereafter. But life just got busy. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do professionally. Didn't know where I was going to, set roots or if I was going to. And so put it away for a while. I was, working after school at home, just bartending and waiting tables and that kind of thing that
sure.
many of us do when we're younger. And
me,
I was just, kind of riding day to day. And, post-college, the band I was in, everybody went different ways. So there wasn't something like a weekly rehearsal keeping my practice regimen, intact. And so you look at the calendar, it's like, oh, wow, I haven't really been in a band in a few years, and it's like,
get that itch.
yeah. And I just kind of started to pick it up a little bit more here and there. And I had really nobody to play with at that point. And I didn't really know, where that was going to go, but I knew that I still loved it. So I was just picking it up for myself, which I think is important.
Right.
And, my better half was pretty supportive in that endeavor too. Like met her kind of around that same time, and
because you guys are like constantly at concerts.
We go to a couple
a month.
I don't know anybody that's been to more. We
It's
got a
like
couple of friends
anytime I hear like, oh, Michael's taking PTO, I'm like, oh, what concert?
Yeah. Just to give you a random example of the concert history, I got a bunch of college friends. They all like to go to Fish shows. A lot of people know who that band is, but
sure.
And some of them are, been to 100 shows or so, and I've been to 85, 90, and people are like, oh, that must be your favorite band. I'm like, well, it's not the only band I've seen 80 times, so
That's crazy, dude.
I do love them, but I love all music. So
Yes.
I go to quite a bit. And Amber and I have been like that ever since.
Right.
But she was really supportive of getting me back into, doing what was passionate, for me. And so I just started playing. I bought a nicer bass than I had before. And so it kind of was like, you get a new car, you want to drive more.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's kind of that effect. So I was just really studying and playing a lot on my own. I've always said that it's something that kind of helps me unwind the day. The way that I'm wired, I'm pretty good at, managing stress, but it's definitely a way that I can personally sit down at home and just kind of unwind the day and kind of balance myself out. But
it's a lot healthier than,
yeah.
say, bourbon to stress relief. Just saying.
Yeah, a fair amount. Not that we don't do that once in a while.
Yeah.
But, and then I just started going to shows, like to find people to play with, and reaching out to people that I had connected to and from years past. And I would go to concerts, even small local club kind of shows. And hey, man, I love the way you play drums. I'd love to jam sometime. That kind of stuff, and just get myself out there. And this is kind of pre everybody putting up YouTube videos and everything. So
right.
just started, trying to see, what we could get working, and, eventually got together with some guys that, had some decent success, locally, regionally.
Yeah. So before your current group, when I first met you, you were in more of a reggae rock band. Is that correct?
Yes, true.
And unfortunately, I didn't see you play there. I know you had some local shows here and there. And so
yeah, quite a bit.
That ended a couple years, 3 years ago? Did you say?
Maybe right around COVID.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was before or after, because I was already playing with the current band before then too. I was kind of doing both projects, but
Sure.
it's been at least that long.
So the name of the band that you're currently working with?
The Summit.
The Summit.
Yes.
And they obviously were together prior to you, correct?
That's correct.
And so give us a little history of the Summit, and then how did you come into it?
So the Summit is a rock band from the area, Cincinnati, and a couple of guys in that band have been playing in projects together for, 20 years or so. And they were having some pretty good success at the time. I didn't know who they were, but their bass player at the time had posted something in Facebook. He was looking for a substitute for a couple of shows because he was having back surgery. And so, frankly, I got tagged in a Facebook post by a friend or a mutual contact. And
Yeah.
I said, hit Walker up. He can probably do it. So I commented back yeah, maybe, what are the dates and what are we talking about? And put me in touch with Chris, our lead singer, and, traded some files and some charts and stuff like that. And so dove into learning a few songs, I think 6 or 7 or something like that. And
What would you define their genre as?
Blues-based rock, southern rock,
Rock,
a classic rock kind of vibe, guitar-driven, melodic rock.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So,
Yep. And so you've been there since 02? Or 22, I mean?
No. That was more like 18 or 19.
Oh, so before COVID.
But, so we had a couple of rehearsals right after that, and then right on the road with REO Speedwagon. So
Yeah, so
I was like, oh, this is cool. They're doing some pretty neat stuff.
yeah,
so
dude.
I'm interested.
Open it up for REO Speedwagon when you're just learning the songs and everything. It's kind of
Yeah.
little
It was a
intimidating.
little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I had about 2 weeks to meet, greet, learn, and go out and perform. So,
Yeah.
But
So, folks out there, if you haven't heard of the Summit, I would highly recommend you go on Spotify and just listen to them. It is a great southern rock. Everything that Michael just said, he described it way better than I could. But
shameless plug time. We just released an album last week.
yes,
Links will be down below.
You didn't say that. No, I'm just kidding. Absolutely, go check them out. Their music is a lot of fun. They just popped out an album, and the way that you know that this band's for real and it's got a lot of legs and some potential is who they're playing with. They travel. You guys travel the country oftentimes with several large named bands and open up for them. What's your top 3, 4 bands that you guys open up for?
So I'd say the two that we've played with the most in the last few years have been ZZ Top and Collective Soul.
Yes.
We're fortunate enough that we have not only the opportunity to play with them, but we've established friendships and relationships with people in both of those camps. Will Turpin, for example, from Collective Soul, he's become a good friend of ours and actually produced our album for us.
Oh, that's awesome.
We recorded it down at Reel to Reel Studios, just south of Atlanta in Jonesboro, Georgia. And it's a studio that he co-owns, and it was started by his father. So it's been around for quite a while. It's, I think, the longest running studio in the Atlanta area. Lots of... I can't even give you the full list of people that have recorded or had projects ongoing in that facility and the history that's there, but it's kind of like, goosebumps.
The Mac, when you walk in, you like feel it like it's a shrine.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And what the Summit, if people were to look up on Spotify Summit and you wanted to, if there was one song that you wanted to listen to, what to kind of get the entire vibe, feel of the band, what song would that be?
I mean, probably our lead single off the album. It's called "Hit Me Up." We've got something like 500,000 streams from it so far since it was released. So,
wow!
People seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, and one last shameless plug for you is, and I think you have a gig coming up this weekend, right?
We do indeed. Yep, a couple of them. We're going to be down in the Atlanta area on Saturday, playing a festival with a bunch of bands at the Sonoya Beer Company brewery. It's kind of a concert that's been curated by Brian Collins, who's one of the co-owners and producers that we work with too. So he works with Will and Reel to Reel Studios and Real People Music Productions.
Yeah.
So that's Saturday. Bunch of other bands, and then on Sunday we'll be in Paducah, Kentucky, at the Carson Center with ZZ Top.
Wow, ZZ Top wins
yep.
Sunday,
yeah.
In Paducah,
indeed, yeah.
That's very cool.
Beautiful venue, yes.
Yeah, so ZZ Top is one of my favorite bands growing up in the 80s and 90s. I'm sure that it's an interesting experience being around.
I mean, yeah,
an old band,
rock and roll Hall of Famers.
What'd you call them earlier? The
little old band from Texas.
A little old band from Texas. Yeah. So,
larger than life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's a neat experience. And I think the reason why, to tie this kind of back into development and growth and so forth, I think that you kind of nailed it as we were talking before this, is like, I had this interpretation that, hey, you wanted to be a rock and roller, then all of a sudden family comes along and you got to make sacrifices so you could go get a corporate gig, and and I think you've learned to balance between the two worlds of utilizing your creativity in the corporate environment as well as creativity in the music environment.
Sure.
But you described it a little bit different. Can you re-describe that for the folks here?
Yeah. I don't refer to it as like the side gig.
Yeah.
It's more of a lifelong journey towards the middle where my strengths lie, which, it's the creating thing, it's the designing thing, it's the art, and you had mentioned earlier about the whole right brain, left brain thing.
Yeah.
I don't even really look at it that way. At least I think I'm kind of a strange case where I'm a little bit of both.
Yes.
Because I'm super into technology and numbers, but I'm also very creative, and I like to, design things and draw things and, record things and, put things together and figure things out. So,
yeah. And,
yeah.
So it's not a side gig. It's just another avenue of you to grow and develop into who you're designed to be, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's awesome. And I think tying that into Golden and kind of what we have here is we always say, take care of your people first, and they'll take care of the business. And so when we at Golden see people that have side hustles, or that's the only word I can use, or they just have other interests outside of Golden, passions and interests, a lot of businesses will be concerned that that's going to take away from their time, or they're not going to be as productive. And yeah, you have to set parameters around both, because you do have to manage both. And you're a very mature fella, so you know how to build those kind of guardrails. But at the same time, if you take care of your people, if you invest in them, that means getting interested in what they're doing outside of Golden, and really developing them as a human being, mind, body, and soul. Then they know they're felt taken care of. You know, it's not. I'm just not trying to get you to produce the next greatest marketing blah blah blah. I'm looking at Michael. Golden's looking at Michael and saying, how can I help him be a better person holistically? And so every one of us in this organization has, and everybody in this world has interest outside of their 9 to 5. And so if you want to try to squash that down and just tell them they got to, chain them to their desk, you're going to end up with a robot that's not going to be with you for very long.
Right.
And so, other people's interests, maybe their kids, or maybe sports, or maybe whatever it is, it could even be a side entrepreneurship opportunity. We had a guy here that loved cooking and loved food and wanted to start up a cooking business. And I helped him get started. Like, I challenged him from a business perspective. And I know 4 or 5 years from now, that thing may take off and he may not be with Golden, which is fine. Like, we're not going to be... But let's face it, in the business world, we're not with each other till we die anymore, or we retire.
Not every job is your forever job.
Yeah. And so I would say that during those 4 or 5 years, if we take care of them, they're going to be loyal to us during that time, and we'll get the most out of that individual because we're taking care of them holistically. So the reason why I asked for you to kind of share a little bit, is I wanted people on this conversation to get to know the other side, because that's all I do is talk all the time. But B, I also wanted people to see what a proper business should look like, because you care about you love them. I mean, truly love people, and let them flourish in all their areas. And I'm just fascinated with your musical side. And again, shameless plug, the Summit Sunday, ZZ Top.
Yep.
Go on Spotify, download their music.
Links below. Yes, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so you are a great case study of that, and so thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah,
I appreciate
my pleasure. Thanks for letting me do my thing.
That's right. I think that's all I got.
Put a lot
for
of trust and ownership in me to do the things that I do for Golden.
Yeah.
Too, so.
You definitely get to use your creativity side here, and you do a good job of it.
Yep.
I wish you guys could see this room.
Well, then you can see some of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah. It's this go gadget room.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Michael.
There we go. We'll spill stuff while we're trying to move the camera around.
There you go.
I mean, we got all kinds of... There's Brian on the other side, There's the rockin' squawkin' chicken.
Yes.
Got lighting, cameras, sound treatment.
It's no Joe Rogan podcast room, but for our budget, it's way better than anybody our size ever had. And we have, and to tell you how good he is creativity wise, I get this compliment. I got it said, your marketing, you guys appear to be 10 times the size that you are.
Nice.
From the brand presence that you have digitally and so forth. So there you go.
Well, I'll take the compliment. Yeah. Because, we have this enormous marketing department.
It's getting bigger. It's getting bigger.
Yes, working on that too.
We're talking about budget for 2025. So.
Right.
Yeah.
All good.
All right, buddy. You want to sign us off?
Yeah, I guess that's a good place to segue and carry on to the next topic for next time. So thanks again for joining us. Once again, this has been Empowering Empathy, and it's the show where we talk about the power of compassion, personal growth, and professional success. And we're getting out of here, so we'll see you next time.
Goodbye,
Thanks again.
everybody. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.